Hey, I just Velcroed solar panels to the roof of my van. What could go wrong? One of my favorite van builders is 5 Pound Pete. Pete has created an incredibly lightweight camper van. He's super thoughtful about every part of the build and really thorough when it comes to testing and validating different options. I literally based the Moose Van solar system on his setup. Pete used 3 flexible Renogy panels at 175 watts each, so 525 watts total. His van doesn't have an AC unit on the roof, so he had a lot more space than we do. We also went with Renogy, 2 panels at 200 watts each for a total of 400 watts. These are the flexible panels that weigh less than 11 pounds each. They use bypass diodes and half-cut cell technology to improve performance in shady conditions. Each panel measures 63 inches long and 29.5 inches wide. I've got just enough room to fit 2 side by side. Yes, I absolutely did use Velcro to mount the solar panels to the roof. Pete used one kind of Velcro. I'm using 3. I put links to all of them in the description. Could I have just used one kind? Sure, but you know me, I like to experiment. Along the front edge of the van, I put the larger 2 by 6 inch Velcro pads. In between those, the ones with the red tape, those are the extreme locking kind, and the rest, that's the Velcro that Pete used. All 3 of them are Velcro brand, extreme weather, heavy duty with strong adhesive. Before placing the panels, I wanted to do a little maintenance. Ram isn't exactly known for their build quality. This is a relatively new van, and it already had some issues along the roof seams. That's not rust, it's just dirt. But I cleaned it all up, then I filled the entire channel on both sides with lap sealant. Over time, hopefully it will smooth out and seal everything nicely. Okay, time to place the panels. I used a few pieces of 1-inch PVC to keep the Velcro from sticking too early. Then I reached under the panels and started removing the Velcro backing, 1 row at a time, starting from the front. You can see here the front is down and the PVC is still holding up the rest of the panels while I work across now 2 or 3 rows at a time. Random wild turkey grazing across the yard. Panels are in. Did I mention the edges of these panels seem to release tiny fiberglass splinters? Whenever I handled them from the sides, I wore the leather gloves. I highly recommend it. Next up, wiring. I decided the best place for a wire entry was just to either side of the AC unit. It might not be the best location for everyone, but it worked well for us inside and outside. So I drilled the holes, spray painted the edges, added rubber grommets, crimped on new connectors, and installed the entry gland using PL Max adhesive. A bit of painter's tape held it in place while it set, and we're good to go. These panels are wired in series, not parallel. There's a ton of content on YouTube about series versus parallel. I'm not going to go into that here, just letting you know what I chose. Right after finishing this, we had to pack up and leave for Colorado. So I didn't film everything. Things like the VHB tape or very high bonding tape, the little plastic standoffs for the wire management. None of that got filmed prior to our trip, so I'm rolling some footage of that now. Hopefully you can see the tape on the front end as well as the back end. That tape is the very high bonding tape that does do a great job of holding that exactly in place where I want it to be. And of course the standoffs, they seem to have held up quite well. None of them are missing. We've got our wire management intact. And now that we're back, here's the update. The panels are still here. We drove over 2,800 miles round trip, 75 miles an hour, sometimes 80 on the interstate. Torrential rains, really strong head gusts of winds, crosswinds that almost pushed us into the next lane of traffic, and they're still here. And by the way, Pete's gone over 10,000 miles with his panels Velcroed to the roof. No problems. Is it the prettiest install? No. Would I like a nice roof rack and sleek solar panels? Sure. But honestly, I'm really happy with this. It weighs just over 20 pounds and it gives us everything that we need. Our battery bank is 15 kilowatt hours of power, So 400 watts of power honestly just isn't enough for full-time off-grid living. But that's not what we use it for. You know, our use case is that we drive very long days and then camp over one night, get up the next day, drive again. So because we have alternator charging that gives 60 amps and roughly 800 watts of power while we're driving, and 400 watt solar panels, which average, let's say 250 watts on a good day, we've actually been just fine. In fact, for the entire trip there and back, our battery bank has never dipped below 50%. And we haven't plugged into shore power one single time. In fact, I haven't plugged into shore power since I installed the solar panels. I know what you're thinking, you know, maybe someday our use case is going to be a longer trip where we stay in one place for more than one night at a time. And we actually want to do that. So what then? Well, the future state of the Moose van will include an external port solar panel right here at the back of the van next to the shore power plug. The EcoFlow power kit does have 2 inputs for solar. I'm only using one at this time because the panels on the roof are connected in series. So I do have one spare port. So I'm just going to wire this up, run the cables back here, put an adapter and a cover on it, and I can plug in something external. We're pretty much at the mercy of the weather, but can we get 4, 5, maybe even stretch it to 6 days without alternator charging or shore power? Yeah, I think that's a possibility. One option is to just get a campsite with hookups for one night. Sometimes we pay for camping at a hip camp. So hipcamp.com is the website. I'll put it in the description below. It's like Airbnb, but for campsites. Most of the hip camps we stay at are very private. Some of them have hookups, some of them don't. But you know, you can filter your search, and if you're able to stay at a hip camp for one night with hookups in the middle of your longer trip that you want to be off grid, then it works. The setup we have today works really well for us. Oh, and by the way, this is not going to be the last 5-pound Pete idea that I borrow. I'm also looking to build his recirculating shower. He's actually built a very nice recirculating shower setup that uses a little over a gallon of water per shower. I'll put the link to his video in the description below as well for not only his solar setup, but also the recirculating shower in case you're interested. I'm really happy with our super lightweight, functional, Velcro attached, flexible solar panels. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Today.